Go.
Hello, and welcome to How Do You Not Know This, the podcast where we talk about the things that most people know, but a few people don't know. If you've ever been at a dinner party, everyone's talking about the war or something, and you have no idea what's going on, this is the podcast for you. And we have Exhibit A, Dom Hatton Woods, a comedian who often... Well, not often, like 80% of the time, has no idea what people are talking about.
And this is about golf or martial arts.
Golf, martial arts. I'm Daliso Chaponda, and here is Tony Vino.
Tony Vino.
Today we have a special edition because we have a guest who is Dom's father. And yeah.
So this is, we've been doing this podcast
too long
for quite a while. Yeah, this was all fields when we started. But basically, we thought this would be quite an interesting one because part of the concept was mine and Daliso, similar age, mid to late 40s, know what we know and all that kind of stuff. But surprised at some of maybe that perhaps the background knowledge that that Dom might not have had when we asked certain questions. But also, through the time we've drilled into the fact that there's things that you've been super focused on that you've taught us about.
But we have been constantly surprised by some of the things which you did not know about,
exactly.
Such as Good Friday.
Yeah.
What are the other highlights?
Good Friday. Anything to do with the war, politics, anything that happened before about 2019.
Yes,
I believe you're right.
And part of the thing that came from was the fact that he was privately educated. I believe over £100,000 you paid for that.
But the other thing, so it was probably in excess of 100,000. But the other thing, so when you said it was Good Friday, so he didn't know about Good Friday. Did he think it was when you bought cheap things online?
No, that would have been better.
I should have said that.
Oh, you should have said that. No, but it was just we weren't even doing an episode of that, but it just came out that there were many things, gaps in knowledge.
Yeah.
Despite going, what was the name of this private school?
It was, what was it?
Chiltern Cantaloupe School.
Yeah.
Carpe diem.
Carpe diem.
Seize the day. That was a slogan.
Okay.
In Latin.
There's obviously a bit of a contract with these fee-paying schools. Did you think in sending Dom there, you were like, right, I'm doing this so that he'll have a quality education and will learn stuff, or was there other motivation? Because on that level, like the results level, it didn't really. You didn't really what we call the return on investment.
Well, in terms of bang for buck, not. Well, you might ask for your money back, or at least some of it.
Yes, you should be able to bring him in and say,
"Look at
I
this.
demand a refund."
Could have got this with a comprehensive. Right.
I think the basic premise behind it is we had some friends, or my ex-wife, had a really good friend called Louise, and her children were great kids, fantastic, but again, they weren't academic, and they were struggling in the state system. And I think the problem was what Louise feared is that they carried on, especially the boys, they would just go the wrong way. So she specifically sent her boys there, and Zoe too, so they would just basically be with a better crowd, I guess. And we just felt it was Dominic was, again, he was kind of, not so much impressionable, because he wasn't, but again, he's a bit like me. He just found school for me was, and we've spoken about this, school for me was just torturous because, again, I'm a hands-on learner. Okay. It's like I learn by watching, which is why, I train as a carpenter and I'm in construction, is I like doing stuff with my hands. And I'd often find, if someone, for example, said, "Oh, let me show you how to do this," I say, no, can you stop? I'll happily watch you first time, then let me do it, and then critique me. Tell me if I've done it right or wrong. But I don't. But it's funny. I'm digressing here. But it occurred to me 2 or 3 years ago that actually we kind of label people as academics, or practicals. Well, there's not a single person who's learned to ride a bike from reading books or writing a PhD or swimming. It's impossible. You couldn't ride a horse by reading a manual. Okay, it might give you basics of the anatomy of a horse, and obviously when it's jogging, then get off your saddle and so on and so forth. But you cannot ride a bike without falling off. You're going to have to try it, fail, try it and fail.
Yeah.
So I think we're all a bit like that, but I guess at different levels. Some people are massive bookworms, and that's how they learn. They digest all their information. Other people just have to learn from practicality. That's why Don would obsessively macerate my lawn every evening with his golf clubs.
Right.
Not hitting golf balls, just hitting the lawn.
We really should have bought a machine for this.
So to answer your question,
Yeah.
again, I think the motivation was, to kind of keep him focused in a smaller class rather than him kind of, to sort of drift into no man's land in a big class.
But was there any point several years in that you realised that completely failed?
Well, it did. Well, I'll tell you what's interesting though, because your passion was golf.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would
From
not
about
have got
12 years
this.
old.
You would not have got this passion at the comprehensive.
No, someone I went to school with introduced me to golf.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that changed my life in a big way, because I was actually a bit fat. And then
He was a bit chubby. His passion would become marijuana and gaming. And cheap snacks. But he's already in the cheap snacks anyway, and gaming. So
just the
we're only a step away from marijuana. But you're right, because actually sometimes I used to. He used to live when his mum moved into Yeovil when we got separated. His golf club was. We're talking. Jesus, it must be a 1.5 mile walk.
Yeah.
And I sometimes passed him walking up this hill. A fairly steep hill. Pulling his golf trolley, sometimes, and he was doing that every single day on the
I
summer
used to have an
holidays.
electric golf trolley. I know, actually, one of it was a push one, and I'd just be on the pavement pushing a full set of golf clubs.
And he wouldn't have
Past,
done
like,
it. He wouldn't. So it's. I think.
And honestly, no one said anything. No one said anything to me. If I saw something, I'd go, "What the fuck? That's weird."
Well, that's strange.
But no one said anything. I'd be on the road as well.
So I think some people.
Were just a little worried.
No, they were just the golf club was nearby. I don't know.
Okay.
I must look like I had special needs or something.
Some parents do it because they expect or would like a better academic outcome, and other parents do it because their children might need more help, and other parents do it because they'd like them to be, small classes with. I get it sounds really shit to say, but with children who've got a socially a different outlook.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, I bring it up because I went to private schools.
Okay.
Right, but there was no choice. It was entirely like an academic. My family was so insane. Like when we had report cards, they would bring out the report card of my brother at the same age.
Yeah.
And it was like a competition, and there was a lot of stick and carrot. We would get rewards, and it was very much. Of course, we were sent to that school because that's the school which will help us get into the university, which is going to. But I also think it's because my dad, he grew up in a village, right, and then he got a scholarship, and his life changed from, pit latrine, no running water, no electricity, to this amazing life. So to him, and also my mother, who again grew up in a village, got a scholarship. University College London, they both had seen education as this transformative magic bullet. So it was just not even seen as an option to pursue another passion. That's why my being a comedian was insane to them, because it was no, the way you do it is you study in these things, you go to university, you get a good degree, and that brings you happiness.
But I guess for most people, again, developed countries or developing countries, that is a route out of poverty. In the UK, to a large extent, again, a lot of people might disagree, but it's, for example, again, a slight digression. 40 years ago, there were houses in the north of England, and actually even in the east end of London, that still would have had outside toilets, and no inside bathrooms, with sort of back boilers that ran off the coal, but in the 21st century, that's you're going to struggle to find many in the UK.
Yes.
So I think again, as I say, that's because that's their route out. But in the UK, because we don't have poverty to the extent that they have in undeveloped countries, developing countries. I guess we're just a bit blasé about it, aren't we? So people don't value it as they would in those countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of, you can get, access to opportunities. You don't necessarily need education and qualification to get into various different areas of work, and particularly work, gainful work. But it's almost like it is still a gatekeeper for various professions. But if you don't have,
doctor,
or even to teach in academia, but that's still quite a niche world, really.
Yes, but I guess you can get a trade, like you said.
Yeah,
you can do something,
whatever,
or literally a comedian.
Yeah,
where it's you learn on the job.
Yeah, you do learn. No GCSE requirement. If anything, that's a negative, having GCSEs.
I disagree.
I agree.
I mean, like, if you look at the Stephen Fry's and these amazing comedians, their education comes up.
But I would have
it's not necessary, but
the one thing that a private education, you would think, I would ultimately, if you didn't come out with good grades, at least like the idea of a love of learning. Whereas actually, sort of an anti.
I don't think my school was a very good school.
Really?
No.
2 stars, Don.
So you don't think it was that you weren't paying attention? You think that they weren't?
80% me, 20% them.
Because it's interesting, yeah. Because I've got I did an event at a thing called Giggleswick School, which is founded in the 1500s, which is up in North Yorkshire. And I did that on Sunday. And this place, it was like Hogwarts. And you just think, oh my goodness, to go here, it's a boarding school, but that must be amazing. Like, it must be quite inspirational. So you've got that kind of...
I went to Hogwarts, essentially. Yeah. But in Kenya, but it was like...
What's that?
They were trying to create Eton because we had the architecture, the way we dressed, we learned Latin and Greek, and it was that old school learning.
But we're in these hallowed corridors of education, but it looks
the
like...
issue is we don't know, none of us knew any different. I didn't.
Yeah.
I've been there from like year 4.
I think you got to remember too, his school, because again, a lot of forces kids would get sent to private schools,
and they wouldn't pay.
Also, there were lots of forces kids.
The reason the MOD used to pay for forces kids to go to private schools because it would give them stability, when their parents were away, and when you got front end, I went to a forces boarding school years and years ago, and they're the bottom end of private schools. Bear in mind, because what the clever private schools do, and the reason they are so sought after, is they've got a fantastic filtration process. So what they do is, whereas anyone can go to dumb school within reason, it's the kind of the more Ivy Leagues, so to speak, your Sherborne, Eton Harrow, Christ Millfield, Winchester, all of those. For example, it's you need a scholarship, so you need to be of excellent sporting ability, or you're going to have to take the entrance exam, and trust me, that's going to be tough. So they've already got the best of the best. So they got kids who love learning. A friend of mine, actually, ex-girlfriend, and her daughter, again, had dad's in Singapore, works at Barclays, quite wealthy. But again, Maya, she gets sort of at least 50% scholarships, for every school she goes for. But her mother pushed her. But again, it's again, this Durga was born in England but Indian, and they have a different culture. They expect their kids to do well.
Yes.
They push really hard.
Literally, also, it was also that kind of thing of, it was hammered into my youth that we were very lucky, right? Yeah. Because every other person in my dad's family couldn't have this opportunity.
Yeah.
So if I squandered it, and there was one time, I was 11, but there was a time when I was 11 and I was doing badly and they threatened to hold me back. The amount of hell which rained on me was like... I was the most ungrateful kid on the planet, and it really did it shook me, and I went back and I worked like crazy.
I remember you would threaten me, you'd say, if you don't focus, we'll send you to a state school, and I was like, all right. Couldn't give a shit. My biggest fear was having to meet new people. That was the only reason I was scared about a state school.
Should have given you the threat which I got. We will send you to the village.
We lived in the village.
You lived in the village. Also, your village is better.
We had a swimming pool.
Your village is better than the Malawian
Tea
village.
shop, yeah.
They took me to see the Malawian village where there was no electricity, where everyone has to go dig in the fields. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And after that, they're like, if you fail again, that's where you're going.
Whoa, flipping out. Now that is it. But often, like, so you've been in boarding school. Like,
And only for one time, I
Only
did.
one
But I
time.
was, however, I was very similar to Dom, and I was sent to when we moved to Dorset when I was 14, I was sent to a very shit private school. And actually,
So did you think it was shit?
did I think your school
What's
was
your
shit?
opinion of it? Yeah.
Your school?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, because again, it's
Because you used to
interesting.
call them up and complain.
Well, the only good, I'm dyslexic, okay, which again, you know, I'm not sure whether it's dyslexic, okay, it exists, or we just kind of told it, and then I'm not, again, I got a view that the problem is as soon as you get labelled something, you kind of give up, okay, rather than say to a child who's less, okay, who's got a less ability of another child at reading or learning the alphabet, if you say, well, you need to just try harder and work harder, okay, it's, you know, no one is going to be, okay, a Tiger Woods, but a lot of people can be very good golfers, but if you say, well, you're a bit shit at that, and you've got okay, golphobia or something, therefore you'll never be good at golf, okay, instantly, as soon as that person believes they'll never be good at golf, they'll probably give up being good at golf, okay, or they say, well, I couldn't be a golfer because I've got golphobia or something. Okay, so, but I, and Christ, he did far better than me. It's the only qualifications I've got is a driving license and a touch typing qualification,
Right.
okay, which I learned
So
when I left school. So I didn't get a single GCSE. Wasn't at all interested. In fact, I persuaded them to send me to college when I was 15. So I walked from my school in Weymouth down to the local college, and I was doing architectural drawing. So I knew I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be. Okay, or do something construction. I just wanted to do something with my hands. School to me was. It's, I guess, maybe because he's very similar. Maybe because I am dyslexic. Okay, or I'm just lazy. It's to me. Okay, I mean, I couldn't. My mum tried teaching me the alphabet. Okay, I couldn't tell the time till I was 12. Okay, she's taken me to St Bartholomew's Hospital, which had the only dyslexic unit in the country at the time. She recognised it, and all this stuff was. I mean, it was like smoke and fucking mirrors. It's like Jesus Christ. It was like someone trying to explain the theory of relativity to a 1-year-old. Okay, so it took me a lot longer to learn. So to me, I was very clear at editing. So I'd think anything they were trying to teach me, I was very good at, because I used to daydream an awful lot because I found it so fucking mind-numbingly boring being in school. So I would observe the outside world or think about what real people did in the world. I mean, I obviously loved TV because TV was fantastic, and I'd binge watch TV, okay, or listen to the news whenever I could, and so I'd observe what real people did. Okay, quite like my own company too. So I'd walk into town on Saturday morning, get a bowl of chips from the Wimpy, and then walk around the shops. And I even used to, you know, I'm digressing again, but I used to go to New Malden to Epsom, okay, every morning, and that involved 2 buses. And I was doing that from about, I think I was 8 years old. Okay, so really, maybe even younger.
Very young.
So again, so I went to this fantastic school in I finished in second in Roehampton, a throwball school. Okay, loved it. Okay, it's basically, and that was based on if you didn't enjoy learning, you wouldn't do it. Okay, but they kept me back a year, and then the second year after being kept back because I was so behind, they said, look, we're going to have to keep him back another year. No, we can't keep him back another year because all his friends were in that class. He can stay, but you're going to have to get him private tuition in addition to him being at school. And my mum said, well, I can't afford that. Okay, so then she found a private tutor in Epsom, this lovely couple, and I spent half a day with them. Mr. Noel Payton used to do history and maths, and Mrs. Noel Payton used to do English and she did history and English, and he did maths and science. Okay, but so I was for about a year. So I was there half a day. Would catch a bus back midday, and then I used to just watch TV for the rest of the day. Okay, just go and do stuff with my mum. So I must have been there a year before they found me another school, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And it was only supposed to be a temporary thing. So I think after spending a year at maybe 8 or 9 years old, of observing the world, being with my mum principally the majority of the time, I thought, well, actually, okay, when I went back to school, I thought, what the fuck has that got to do with real life? So they started trying to teach you algebra. I think, well, I'm never going to use that. Okay, I can't even see how that factors into real life. So unless it was really relevant to how I actually saw things happening in the real world, I wouldn't even bother.
So that's interesting because you will only pay attention to things which directly affect what you're doing.
Right.
Everything else you screen out as entirely irrelevant.
I do.
Such as just who's in the government,
Yeah.
like the historical context for what a thing there, but just also interesting facts about
It has to aid what you're doing in life or help you pick up girls.
Yeah, if it's not relevant, okay, I completely get it. If it's not relevant, okay, why would I engage with it?
So you both got this.
Yeah. But then but the idea, like what we were just chatting before, the idea of what is relevant perhaps is even much more narrower with you. Like you'd at least go, maybe you want to know. Like,
Maybe now at this age.
Well, no, I think
you think it's an age thing?
No, I think the basic difference is it got to a point, and Dom may be. I mean, he was. I mean, he was nowhere close. Well, he wasn't. I would be. It's 50 years before, even 30 years before, I just would have been described as retarded. Okay, so that's a reality. It's because in terms of my ability to digest anything written.
Oh, really?
Okay, reading, written, writing. Okay, maths is okay because that's just basic, that's logical. I mean, let's face it, the English language makes no fucking sense. Okay, and if you're it just literally what there. Okay, that's an easy one. Okay, but it is
Right.
is my girlfriend. I say, how's this spell? And we have phones now, which is easier. Okay, but why the fuck would I learn how to spell? I don't need to. I can ask someone else. It's just why? Okay, it's a complete waste of my time. So, however,
You must be so proud at his ignorance.
Yeah, he's done really well. He's just like father, like son.
Exactly.
Okay, but no, they got to a point where I had. Then I had a gap for about okay, where I sort of I just basically had a period of about 8 months, okay, where okay I had kind of nothing to do, okay, and I thought actually I might just learn to read. I didn't have access to a TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought, okay, I sort of had a break. Okay, I thought I'm going to learn. And I thought, well, how do I learn to read? I also started doing basic education because I thought actually it would be, I was 20, probably certainly in my early 20s.
But wait, sorry.
And I could probably have just about told you, okay, where a full stop went. Okay,
No, but what's
on
interesting is you've run businesses,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you didn't need any academic learning. It was just based on
Figures are good. Numbers
Figures
are
are good.
good.
Numbers are good.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to know how to count
and you need to know
percentages.
people as well.
You need to know
Percentages.
people,
I mean,
dealing with
even,
people.
Even fractions. What the fuck is that about? I could use percentages. Why give me 2?
Which actually, when I was in school,
Yeah.
and I was probably from 13 to 15 before he left us, he would make me at night
Times tables.
read to him whilst
Yeah.
he would do
Yeah.
push-ups and that,
Yeah.
and then also
Times
do the
tables.
times tables
tables.
over and
Times
over and over
tables.
again.
Because I knew
Okay.
actually when this period I had, okay, for basically 8 months, no TV, had access to a radio, etc., is basic education. Okay, I mean obviously the teacher's very respectful. You're adults at the time. Okay, and I said to this teacher, I said, Jane, I said I want to go back to the basics. I want to learn add, subtract, multiplication, division. Explain it to me again. Add, subtracting is easy enough. But multiplication, okay, and division, it's like what the fuck will you put that down there and that up there? I mean, if I can't do it in my head, it's pretty not relevant.
Yeah.
But anyway, so and the other thing I think at the reading age at the time of about a 12-year-old. I was in my early 20s. I thought, right, how do I learn to read? Well, there's no point starting with fucking Shakespeare. I tried that at school, and I literally made my mum buy me the cassette series, okay, so I could listen to it.
Yeah.
And at that time, that was a struggle to get, okay, I don't know, Macbeth or something on cassettes. It was like 16 fucking cassettes. It was insane, and even listening to it was boring. And so I thought, right, I'm going to get books for teenagers like Hornblower, okay, and stuff like that, so basic books, okay. And I started reading, and I really enjoyed reading, okay, and then the interesting thing is the punctuation started making sense. The spelling, okay, started. It naturally, I could start spelling things properly. I mean, still to the point that I'm not fantastic.
No, but
so, and then I think and the thing with knowledge is then you start when you read a book that might inspire you to I'd like to know about that. So you read another book, then you read another book, then you read another book, and so on and so forth. So even now. Okay, and then Apple came in, so you buy audiobooks, and then now we got Audible. Okay, so I listen to books all the time. I do read. Okay.
no, Dom, you read. What are you reading right now?
How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie.
Wow.
Yep.
But I can't read, whereas you would, for example, they talk about speed reading, breaking sentence down and stuff like that. It's like, fuck off, you know. I mean, even subtitles, okay, too fast for me.
Okay.
I can't, you know. I'm by the time I'm on that word, and the next word's come.
Gone.
So
You must hate the start of Star Wars, you know, where the
rubbish.
Slow down!
pause.
Well, we've paused now, haven't we? When it was terrestrial TV, it was an absolute bloody nightmare. Because you missed it.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So I think for him, okay, he couldn't. It's not to say that, and I want that's it. That this whole story started from him saying, okay, the school was a bit shit. What really pissed me off is I had this Miss Noel Payton. She was probably 70 years old.
This was at your school?
No, this is a private tutor I had when I came out for a bit. So she was like 70 years old. She had taught, funnily enough, she'd been headmistress in schools in Africa, all over the world. She's a very clever lady. Okay, firm. Okay, not strict, but very firm. Okay, and she said, Andrew, she said, the first day I was there, she said, I will never make you copy anything off the board. Okay, and she said, I'll tell you why. Because you won't. She said, basically, teachers who make pupils copy things off the board are lazy. Because no one learns anything that they copy off the board. Okay, and that stuck with me. And she would never, okay, I mean, maybe one or two things where she'd write it down and say, you know, copy that, okay, but that, I mean, we're talking once a month for a very specific purpose. And that stuck in my head, and I thought, no, you're quite right. That's just babysitting. Basically, the easiest thing for a teacher to do is they're a bit hungover, fell out with the wife the night before, whatever, or that morning, and they just go in, okay, and they copy a load of shit onto the board, and they say, right, everyone, write that down in your exercise book.
It takes ages.
But
Learning is changing. Do you know they're thinking of getting rid of homework? Now the question is whether homework works anyway, but partly because of ChatGPT and things like that, it's too easy for kids to cheat.
Yeah.
So the actual discussion saying maybe we should just get rid of homework and it'll be entirely what happens in the classroom when you can watch them. Yeah. And then, but then also the question is that was homework really necessary anyway?
Well,
Did it help?
But you're quite right. But even before homework, you had again what's it called, plagiarism with Google. Okay, everyone was basically all they were doing was cutting pasting. In fact, they're doing that. They do that in universities.
So what was about the school? What were you going to say?
Well, so coming back to that. So when she said that, Dom came home one day, and he said. And he was doing some homework, and actually he said to me, even worse, because I could touch types, I was faster at typing than he was. So he said, Dad, do you mind, okay, typing, okay, these two paragraphs from the book, okay, onto this page? And I said, well, what the fuck are you doing that for? He said, because my teacher gave me that as an exercise. Okay, obviously straight on the phone. Who's this teacher? I said, don't ever... okay, make my son copy off the board. As far as I'm concerned, I said, explain to me how he's going to learn anything from that.
What did they say?
Okay, well, he tried to justify it. Okay, but I'm very argumentative, so he probably didn't get a word in. Okay, so, but that's
what did you speak to that teacher?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, they must have hated me.
Yeah, that's not teaching. It's not teaching. teaching, is it?
No, but
the interesting thing is, so let me just finish. Is I literally, and it was a personal training thing. It's about PE, and it was a really interesting 2 paragraphs. Okay, that interested me. Okay, and after typing it, okay, spending 10 minutes, I didn't comprehend a single fucking word.
you're meant to read it and type it. You're not meant to just take the words.
There's also, he would have got better at typing. You sounded rubbish at it.
But that is a shit thing.
It's a shit thing
like,
to do.
that requires no
It's not
thought
teaching.
on their part, does it? Really?
Well, I don't know. I
It's
mean,
a cumulative effect of lots of things. That's not the only thing you're doing.
The alphabet doesn't mean you can use it.
Yeah, but it was an important 2 paragraphs. I mean,
Well,
I
it's so
think
important. They should have taught it.
I suppose I'm coming from the perspective of now as a parent. I'd love that piece of homework because now it's multiple choice now. Like my son, he gets an app, and then you just and it just goes through it. So it's basically like having some kind of like having Wordle on your phone, and he's got the TV on. We'll watch it, and I'm like, "Are you doing your homework?" Yeah, just like that. And then it's come. Whereas that was immersive. You know, you have to sit down, type out a paragraph, get a bit of.
Also, it's a cumulative effect. That's not the only way you're learning. So you're doing. I remember copying down important text, and then you're also writing essays. You're also discussing things. You're doing all these things together.
Because education goes, you start long form, then you go for it. I remember when I did a law degree, you'd write down everything that was on the board. You know, the lectures go through that, and then as you come towards exams time, you know, you'd sort of take all your notes, you'd reduce them, blah 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 blah, and eventually it's sort of like.
The idea that it's
Cram
in
it
your
in.
brain.
It's in there.
It doesn't stay on the
What a
paper.
complete waste of time. I mean, let's face it, there's 2 ways of doing it. Okay, basically, 2 ways.
You
of
just
doing
start
it.
a school.
Two ways of doing
Yeah.
it. Okay, what you could do, which you're quite right, and I agree with you. If I read, okay, a book or a paragraph, okay, for example, I would definitely absorb it. Okay, and as I went through it, for example, I think, oh, actually, okay, you know, for example, it might be a geography question. Okay, for example, Argentina has a population of 56 million. That's going to come up. I will highlight that. Okay. And definitely that I will bang that for later, come back to it, okay, and write that down and learn that fact, useful fact, okay. But every time I stop, okay, to basically, you know, basically highlight that. That's great. I'll read on. Okay, it's and that's great. Okay, but the whole purpose of saying to someone, "Oh, I'm going to write." Okay, I'm going to write this entire book on the board. I want you to, okay, basically write it down again. Okay, here's an idea. Give me the photocopy. Or I'll just buy the book. Okay? But yes, you should read the book and obviously take notes on the book or highlight it. And that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, but making someone just write it off the board or say, if I said, Daliso, okay, I'd really like you to read my book. Do you mind writing it all down first and reading it?
Yes, it is absurd. It is absurd. It is absurd. But I take it that it's not even. How do you not know this? It's you should not know this.
You should not.
This education system is terrible.
What's the point in knowing anything?
I was trying to figure why Dom had no engagement, and it's the schools. It's the British. But you went to but
I went to a comprehensive school.
you went to a comprehensive school,
and I think I kind of saw that there was something in this education. I was the first in my entire family beyond to go on to not just to university, but get a master's and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is.
So did you ever work as a lawyer?
Because I went into the academic side, so I did a law degree, then a master, and then it was going on to a PhD, and I completed my master's. But then actually, no, because you had to do a year as which is a vocational course to become a solicitor.
and as you said, who needs £100 an hour?
When I can earn that in a week now.
But I think that's the interesting thing. For example, it's ironically, okay, there's a school called Hardy's in Dorchester, which is a state school. Okay, does fantastically well. Okay, my mum actually said to me when I was at this shit private school in Weymouth, she said, "I'm going to take you out of that because they're moaning about you. They're saying that you're messing around and you're having issues, I'm put you in Hardee's. Okay, and it's only because it's only my fear. Okay, which is what Dom said earlier, touched upon earlier, of having to meet new people. Okay, I should have let her because it's a far better school. There are some great comprehensive. The problem with private schools is basically they're fundamentally businesses that like money and they need money.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have you. Whereas and also they got. I mean, in the main, their catchment, okay, or the majority of their customers are middle class people. Okay, who are all very busy anyway, and as long as they come home speaking quite nicely, not swearing too much, okay, they've probably done their job. The thing with comps, okay, they have to work a lot harder because they got kids
What school did you send your kids to?
So do you know what? This was okay. So my son sent him to CHS South, so one in the Chorlton, Manchester, but it was a new school. And it has it has no catchment area, as in it takes kids from all over Manchester. So it is like a fairly rough school. So that's my son goes to that. But I was like,
Here's my question: if you had £1 million, would he still have gone there?
Yeah, because right, I remember I was as he was coming up through primary, like me, Claire and myself were like, we want to send our kids to the comprehensive system because we believe in it. That as in we came through it.
Do you actually believe in it?
Yeah,
okay.
as in.
But you said it's a rough school.
No, it's a rough school, but it's better rather than parents all just like go running away from the rough schools and trying to get slightly better. Actually, send your kids to a difficult school, but
so that they can be beaten.
They can be.
And so get character.
Yeah, so they can be bullied. But actually makes the school better. So if you're good parenting, make good kids, makes good schools.
Okay.
Whereas and we were shocked. Me and friends, we had all these friends that sort of like what you'd call like champagne socialists. That we got to like the end of primary, they came into and then they'd all send all the kids to the grammar school. We were like, you sent them to the grammar school? Like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, oh, we've sent our kid to like Grange Hill, right? So, but I was like, but I still believe in it.
Okay, what about Myla?
So Myla,
his second
we
kid.
couldn't quite stomach sending Myla to that same school, so we sent her to another comprehensive, which had a higher, a stronger discipline, discipline in a smaller catchment. But that was more about her rather than the idea of school. Our son's pretty tough, but we just thought, maybe not for her.
Makes sense.
But we would not have sent our kids to private school or grammar school because we're just like, nah.
Okay.
I think believing in the comprehensive system. But like this last week, in fact, last night I was chatting to someone who was a Navy child, and he was like, he loved boarding school. He was like, it was the best thing because I've been sent to we'd moved 6 times in 2 years, and it was like grounding. But then in the same week, I've had a chat with let's say my next door neighbour who hated it because it's a breeding ground of bullying and you can see how kids really struggle with it.
It's a bit luck of the draw because I went to two boarding schools.
Yeah.
The first one was hell on earth.
Oh man.
It was like torture. And then the second one was magnificent. And I don't know what the difference is. It was in a different country. It was a different education system, different teachers, different kids. You can only control so much because again, it was they were in the same bracket, and one was hell. It was like
you can't, but you're quite right. I'm completely with you. But this also brings me because I got Miss Snobpain, bless her. She said there's this school in Christchurch, Bournemouth. Okay, no, really good. Okay, fuck. I mean, I was maybe 10 when I was sent there. Okay, it's you only went home after term, so okay, there were no weekends, and the homosexuality, okay, that you'd hear about, the bullying, okay, it was. I mean, I didn't even make the term, and I remember being on the phone to my mum when we had pay phones. Okay, I just burst into tears. Okay, she said, "I'm taking you out." Yeah. I sat at the dinner table once, and this boy, I think it was no Conger. Okay, I mean, these were nice blazers that my mum had bought me. Okay, he literally had his lighter under my elbow. Okay, and he was burning my jacket. Okay, obviously I told my mum. She told the deputy head something was done. Okay, but there's in the library. once there was a boy called Bradley. This school had a lot of kids from councils who couldn't cope with them. Okay, and again, that's a problem with a lot of boarding schools. They don't advertise that in the prospectus. And Bradley decided, there was another boy sat down, and Bradley decided to get his penknife and just stab in the back of the leg. So, however,
Dom, did you ever light anyone's blazer on fire?
No, but yours was a nice boarding school.
Nice, but I'm saying he was the bully. He wasn't bullied.
It was Conger and Bradley wrapped into one.
There was never any violence.
There was never violence. It was just psychological torture.
But your school, it had a really lovely community there, didn't it? It was a nice school. It felt nice. The community was nice.
So,
yeah,
you had friends and hung out and had fun.
It felt quite homely.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So it had, even though it maybe academically wasn't the best, I mean, we'd hear about they had these fantastic sort of sports days, or what they used to call it, where they have marquees and cakes, and it was fantastic. But you just felt it was a real, and the headmaster would come and talk to you, approachable. They were just nice.
I also think it's interesting, academics isn't the only thing. So, like, I have a friend who's homeschooling, and her kid is like 2 years ahead of kids that age.
Yeah.
But is really bad at socializing. And it's sort of like, is it worth...
Yeah.
The kid is a genius, right? But then you're like...
Social interaction.
They struggle with talking to... Now, it might be a thing... Actually, she might listen. I'm worried.
Everything's fine.
No, all I'm saying is it's more than just academics.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get... And that's why I didn't mind sending my son to a fairly rough school in Manchester with a wide catch rate. In that you sort of think, what makes you in life is sometimes quite random. It might be, someone you meet that like you getting involved in golf. You never know. Someone introduces you that, and you're like, that becomes a passion.
A teacher giving me Roald Dahl revolting rhymes, and me finding something funny.
Brilliant.
Made more to my life than all the rest of the stuff which was going on at the school, because I was like, I love funny, and I didn't know that 20 years later that's going to be where I go. Yeah.
Braveness to her, she must have been 10 because she would have moved at 11. Okay, and she went to the park, and they had, classic sort of, green jacket, navy green jacket with tartan skirt. Okay, so very distinctive private school uniform. And I remember Vanessa and I taking her there to have a look around. Okay, I mean, that's brave for a 10-year-old from private school to go there anyway. And you think, how are they going to look at her and think, well, as soon as you come here and pick on you, okay, cannon fodder. But she was desperate to go there, and she loved it. Absolutely.
So what does she do now?
She was having sex in that. I wasn't.
But that school had a semi-bad reputation.
They'd have like parties and drink, but we wasn't doing that. So I wanted to go there.
What's she doing now?
With my sister.
You're making up for lost time, though, aren't you, John?
You're making up for...
She's a full...
In fairness to her, she went from school, she got a job, Screwfix, call centre. Then I was selling a flat to one of their buyers, and so I introduced her to John. John got her a job from the call centre in the buying department, and she became if she carried on Screwfix, she certainly would have worked. Which is, that's a really good job. It's a big company, and she no doubt would probably work herself up to being a buyer, but she chose to, become a mum, which again is an thing to do.
Great. Whereas if she'd gone to your school, she'd probably turned up another comedian, and we don't want to.
We don't want
a female one as well.
I'm curious, what's the worst job you've done?
I mean, I've had some bad ones, but the worst...
This podcast?
The worst one was... I worked in a tripe factory.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh, dear.
I had to take animal innards.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Out of a large vat, like say, and different days it was different
is
innards.
torture.
One day was sheep innards, another day was
Oh.
fish guts,
Well, you like
another day was
gloves.
cow innards. So let's just choose whatever day. Pig innards was the worst. Pig offal, and you'd have to then it was pig awful, right? And you have to grab like a trachea
Pig awful.
or an esophagus or something like that, and then just grab it and then put it in small trays. And I had these big trays, and then I would then put these on a conveyor belt, and then put in a rack, and they'd go into a freezer because then you freeze the bits, and then they go into a mincer, and that's how you make microwave meals.
Can you beat that? Have you done
I can't.
Worst
beat that.
one?
The worst thing I've ever done is actually being on. There's again platform, conveyor belt, and potatoes go past you, and you have to take out the rotten potatoes, and again the bar for rotten potatoes is quite low. It's
God.
falling around, and have you ever left potatoes in a drawer in a bag for long enough?
You'll squish you.
They get all squished in.
It's a stink.
Yeah.
They are
Man, yeah.
absolutely.
I think you're doing pretty well.
guts you. So
What's the worst job you've done?
Working for him.
Was it really? No.
It was probably the
Worse than the bins?
Well, we had quite a complex relationship at the time because I was like, I was kind of lying to myself saying I wanted to be a tradesman, and I was shit at it. But bin man was just, it was clear I didn't give a
You
fuck.
can do if you do a job you hate, that's in but you're not interested in it.
Yeah.
You can kind of get by it. Like I've worked in. I worked that awful. I did another sort of summer job where I was what's called a meat packer, which sounds, and you'd literally just get chunks of meat, put them in boxes. There was a lot of meat industry around us, and just like terrible jobs.
What I liked about being a bin man is they don't expect anything more from you. They don't expect you to like want to work your way up. They're like, you stay here, and we'll just keep doing this because that's all you're meant to do.
But we all agree with that, don't we? I mean, even the thing is, again, even sorting potatoes, the minus jobs, you can switch off.
You just...
Okay, and actually, there's no... I mean,
Yeah.
for example, someone said, actually, you want to get promoted, to the, I don't know, for example, to the head potato picker. Okay, it's like, I'm doing that now, mate.
I don't want to do that.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like there is no, there's
no-
no progression.
No progression.
Okay, so
Yeah,
And
I
sometimes-
I used to clean a bar and clean houses. And again, my brain was somewhere
yeah,
else.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
you
And
just
you-
do it.
headphones on, off you go.
Headphones on,
Yeah.
you go.
That's it. You can go somewhere with it, can't
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
But the worst job wasn't that. Like, because at least there I had a purpose. But I did a data entry job after university. And I had studied computer programming. And I was doing this data entry and I was thinking, you could write a program to do this. We were totally useless. A program
Yeah,
would do this
when you
more
see no
efficiently.
reason.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it's like digging a hole and then
filling it
filling the
back
hole.
in,
It was
yeah.
totally
Yeah.
useless
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I did not care about it. It was like paintings, like in hotels. This company
Or hotel
Renwell,
art, yeah.
it would supply hotels with art, and we were just doing the catalog. So we were getting the image and the number, and then typing it in. The image, the number, typing it in. And I was like, I can't believe that's all I did all day.
Could you have just spent all day you could without seeing just writing a program, and at the end of the week, just like whoop,
Just be like, here you go, it's done.
Do you hear about that? I think Tim Ferriss said he was given a job, for example, in I think a convenience store, and the guy said go and clean out the back room, and so I think I don't know 4 hours later the guy came back and he said and Tim Ferriss was in the car park doing karate kicks, and he said what are you doing? He said I told you to clean out the back room. He said yeah I've done it. It took half an hour. Okay. Why would I take any longer? Angry card.
Yeah.
He didn't make day 2.
Oh, but wait, by the way, I need to check what time it is because
5:20.
I've got a gig.
5:30.
Okay, I'm good. Okay.
What I'd have noticed though is I was working for Dad, hated it terrible, and then eventually he said he was renovating this house, and he said, "Right, you're useless. You cannot be around us. You're making us slower." He said this house needs.
It's a great thing to hear from your dad, by the way. I always think that.
He said,
Good
but
work.
what I could do is I could strip wallpaper.
Okay.
Pretty simple. You cut it.
Yeah.
So there's holes in it, and then you put a steamer on it, and then you So I would do that, clean it up, and then he said this whole house, 3 floors, and all the wallpaper needs to go. How much do you want per wall, per room to do that? So I went, I don't know, 400 quid a room. He went, all right, it's on you. If you take a year, you get that money in a year. If you take 3 weeks, you get that money in 3. And then what I do is I just hired other
How
people.
long did it take you?
I never finished it.
You never finished it.
I think I might have done.
I think you
No, I
did.
think I did finish
but
it.
again,
But you did quite a lot of it, right?
Well, I hired another person.
outsourced.
But
paid
you
them
preferred that a lot to.
Wait, because I just got someone else in and got them to do most of it and paid them
You
less than I was being paid.
You stiffed your own dad. Good
Well,
work.
no. What they showed me instantly, anyone who's got the louse to do that. If I say I give you 300 quid a room to do it, and he's clever enough to get an idiot, okay, does it for less?
Yes,
that's
that's very
entrepreneurial.
smart.
That's
Very
a pat on the
smart.
back.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well done.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
do that with my gigs, but I don't get
You could
really
do
enough.
that.
Well, I have written jokes for more famous comedians, right?
Yeah.
And I've thought about what they're making doing my joke, and I'm like, I'm the idiot. I'm the
Yeah,
guy.
you're the idiot.
I'm the guy doing the wallpaper.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
But so,
You were the stripper.
Yes. Essentially.
but yeah, I learnt that, and then in my job, when I've had a job and they go do this, they used to write me a list of shit to do. I'd do it, and then I would just sit there, and they go find someone else to do. No, you tell me what to do.
Tell me- There's a certain. I remember there was a certain agreement in what you'd call, like blue collar work.
Yes.
Where like, don't do things too fast. Like because I remember I had this cake, right, and I was actually the victim of someone being overly enthusiastic, right? And I used to, on a Saturday morning, we'd clean this cake factory, and there was this kid who one morning I wasn't there, and he did his room and my room in the same amount of room.
I
got
actually
fired.
think you have
And I was
just-
like, the
Ruined it for
agreement
you.
No,
is-
but also you have
we don't go
found
too fast.
the key source of racism. Okay, it's not about color of skin. If these foreigners come and do stuff efficiently,
Better
better,
and quicker.
For less money.
for less money, what are you doing?
I know.
yeah.
Well, that's jobism, isn't it? There should be a phrase for it.
There should be a phrase. It's jobism. It's
Yeah.
jobism.
Yeah.
If you're gonna come, they should actually do that. If you're gonna come into the country, just
Take
take your time. Take your time.
Watch the indigenous population. Just copy them.
Yeah.
Copy
There's
that.
nothing more British than being half-arsed
Yeah.
in a job you don't
Don't
like.
be so
okay?
keen.
That's the entrance test.
That'd be brilliant.
Or spend half the time criticising your boss. Okay,
Yeah.
which we're very good at too.
What
are you doing?
Why are you doing this?
I've
Look,
been filming-
this is why there's no attention span. I feel like
I've been
now.
filming these
What
vlogs.
are you-
And that's what that's for.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
From
well,
these
you're-
one.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
There's a camera. What was that?
It's a vlog for the TikTok.
Oh, for the TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay.
How meta is that? You're doing a
Now,
video
before we
podcast?
wrap up, because
Can I
I
see
do
it?
have to go. Did you have any of your stories? We skipped at the beginning. You know, this week.
Yeah. The questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know you'd seen that. So I put up on the podcast on my Instagram. Anyone got any questions for Dad?
Yes.
And we've got how much Lego can you shove up your bum? We'll ignore that one.
Ignore that.
Did he always think you'd be a comedian? Probably not.
You were always insanely funny as a child, but I never ever thought you'd be a comedian. Like, I mean, it's just not. Again, it's. I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be a policeman and an airline pilot. Okay, and usual stuff.
Yes.
Okay, not. I mean, even an actor. That's
Yeah.
singer. Okay, but comedian. No, that's.
So he was insanely funny.
Oh, it's very funny.
What-
Hilarious.
There we go.
I saw it.
Predictable.
Okay.
What advice would he give to families of people who are suffering with alcoholism?
Wow. Where's that from?
Instagram.
But how did?
The vlogs are about him.
Oh,
getting-
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
It just seemed out of the blue.
Yeah.
What advice suffering from alcoholism? it's hard to, for example, unless it's a particular person. If it's a whole family, who's a perpetrator? Is it the mum? Is it a teenager? Okay, is it the dad? I think, but the only thing you could say, I think, apart from getting the person, the perpetrator, okay, to realise that it's a fucking wrecking ball. There's to think that, and I've been there, and I don't want to sound like again, John, you'll know when you meet
John.
Tony.
John left earlier.
Tony. You know when you meet a born-again Christian, they're fucking irritating, aren't they? They are so irritating. So I don't want to sound like I don't want to.
What's a born-again Christian?
A born-again Christian is someone who's just found Christ, and they think that they need to bestow it to everyone and tell everyone, okay, that they should have found Christ, even though we may have found Christ years ago. Okay, so
what do you think of that?
But how does this? But where are you going to with the alcoholism?
I don't want to sound like one against Christian or somebody who's just giving up smoking, telling everyone they shouldn't smoke. Okay, in that context. Okay, but to think that I was spending on people's spend. Okay, a shitload of money. I mean, a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
And actually, the other is, and I've got like it too. I've been insanely verbally violent to Dom. Okay, and insanely judgmental, far too emotional, far too rude. Okay, far too angry, far too spiteful. Okay, and I'm just not that person when I don't drink.
He's sober. He's like they're sober, so you can imagine.
This is true. So it's realizing that.
Well, I think you got unless you get that person. I think the thing is for someone to say I will cut down is unless you're going to drastically cut down.
Yeah.
Okay, you're just going to go back to that point. Right. Okay, it's just again a small stat. Daliso, we spoke about this. 95% of violent crimes are on alcohol. Is fucking massive. It's ultimately it's a very dangerous substance. I know because I've done really stupid things. I mean, insanely dangerous things on it. Okay, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Okay, if someone said, okay, can you give me a pro? What are the pros of people drinking too much, even moderate amounts? I don't know. There aren't any.
Yes. Was that the last one?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Let's call it there.
It's a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you
so much.
Like, subscribe.
Subscribe.
Come to my tour.
And thanks, Andy, for coming on the podcast. Appreciate it.
This was great. And I'm doing work in progresses. 2 of them are selling well. 1 of them has 3 people. So, I was going to say what city it is, and I forget. But either way.
Probably why it's got 3 people. You don't even know.
So you don't even know.
Essentially, only the Manchester ones are selling well. But if you see a work in progress anywhere but Manchester, even Manchester, come see it because it's a very funny show.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.